The story of Jonah and the whale, steeped in both religious and cultural significance, is an ancient narrative found in the Hebrew Bible. It tells the tale of Jonah, a prophet who is commanded by God to go to the city of Nineveh and preach against its wickedness. Instead, Jonah attempts to flee his divine mission, setting sail in the opposite direction. His defiance leads to a series of dramatic events, culminating in his being swallowed by a great fish, or whale, where he spends 3 days and 3 nights contemplating his disobedience before being miraculously delivered onto dry land. This narrative is significant as it serves as a vivid allegory about obedience, repentance, and divine mercy. It underscores the importance of heeding one's moral and spiritual duties, as well as the boundless compassion that can accompany genuine repentance. Jonah's journey is emblematic of human tendencies to resist difficult paths, only to find redemption through introspection and realignment with one's purpose. In practical terms, the story of Jonah and the whale can manifest in modern contexts. For instance, it is often referenced in personal development circles as a metaphor for confronting one's fears and the idea of personal transformation following an inner reckoning. Similarly, in religious teachings, this story is frequently used to illustrate the power of second chances and the belief that it is never too late to correct one's course under divine guidance. Supporters of this narrative often draw attention to its timeless lessons, suggesting it serves as a moral compass for navigating complex life decisions. They argue that the story exemplifies the transformational power of introspection and humility, both significant elements in personal growth and spiritual maturity. However, the story of Jonah and the whale also confronts challenges and controversies. Skeptics question the literal plausibility of surviving within a whale, considering it a fantastical element rather than a historical event. Moreover, others argue about the interpretational scope, debating whether the focus should remain on religious obedience or be broader, highlighting personal growth themes more universally. Ultimately, the story connects deeply with the broader narratives of the Bible and other cultural teachings by emphasizing themes of redemption, the struggle between human will and divine purpose, and the omnipresent possibility for change. It influences other aspects of the main topic by providing a foundational example of the human condition's complexity and the journey toward understanding and fulfilling one's destiny. This layered interpretation serves as a bridge, linking the ancient past to contemporary life lessons. The historical and cultural context of the story of Jonah and the whale delves into the backdrop against which this ancient narrative unfolded, providing crucial insights for a richer understanding of its themes and messages. This concept involves exploring the socio-political environment, the religious beliefs, and the cultural norms that shape this story's creation and dissemination in ancient times. Its significance lies in offering depth and clarity, helping contemporary audiences appreciate the story not merely as a standalone biblical tale, but as a narrative interwoven with the historical and cultural fabric of its era. By examining the historical and cultural context, one can better comprehend why Jonah's story resonated deeply with the people of that time. For instance, the story's probable roots in the 8th century BCE during the time of the Assyrian Empire, situated amidst a period of profound national anxiety and reflection for the Israelites. Their frequent conflicts and political tensions with neighboring empires like Assyria, known for its might and cruelty, are mirrored in Jonah's initial reluctance to preach to Nineveh, the Assyrian capital. Moreover, culturally, the inclusion of a sea monster or large fish can be understood through Near Eastern myths and symbolisms, where such creatures often represented chaos and divine intervention, drawing parallels with similar motifs from other contemporary civilizations. Several real-world applications illustrate the enduring relevance of the story's context. In theological discussions, the narrative has been used to talk about themes of divine mercy and repentance, prompting reflection and moral teaching across religious and moral landscapes. In literature and art, Jonah's tale often symbolizes the struggle of mankind with fate and divine will, seen in works that explore themes of resistance and eventual submission to higher powers. Opinions supporting this exploration assert that understanding context enriches interpretation, turning a seemingly simplistic moral tale into a layered narrative offering insights into the human condition. Yet challenges exist in dissecting this context. Debates often arise about the historical accuracy of Jonah's journey and the supposed miraculous events, with some viewing it as allegorical rather than historical fact. This exploration influences other aspects of Jonah's story by highlighting its layered meanings and nuances, serving as a springboard for discussions on faith, obedience, and cultural interactions. By embracing the historical and cultural lens, the story of Jonah and the whale transforms from a mere biblical account to a profound commentary on human resilience and divine purpose amidst prevailing historical realities. This vantage point encourages audiences to engage with the text with an appreciation for its original context, fostering a deeper understanding of its timeless themes. The call to Nineveh and Jonah's initial resistance is a pivotal moment in the biblical narrative of Jonah, illustrating both the complexities of human emotion and the divine imperative of obedience. Jonah, a Hebrew prophet, is commanded by God to go to the great city of Nineveh and call out its wickedness. Jonah's initial resistance stems from various factors: fear of retribution, disdain for the Ninevites, who were known enemies of Israel, and possibly a lack of faith in his mission's success. This resistance symbolizes the universal human struggle between personal prejudices and moral duty, highlighting the internal conflict one faces when called to confront daunting tasks or perceived adversaries with compassion and empathy. This moment is significant as it sets the stage for Jonah's extraordinary journey, showcasing themes of repentance, redemption, and the sovereignty of divine plans over human reluctance. Jonah's resistance emphasizes that even chosen messengers can falter, making his story more relatable and profound. The significance lies also in its message, that no one is beyond repentance and compassionate intervention can lead to transformation, even for those deemed irredeemable by society. In contemporary terms, Jonah's resistance is reflected in scenarios where individuals or groups resist societal or personal change due to deep-seated prejudices or fears. For example, consider the resistance seen in modern organizational change, where employees might resist new policies that challenge traditional norms, only to find that adaptation ultimately leads to growth and innovation. Another example is social activism, where confronting systemic injustices or unpopular truths can initially be met with hostility or indifference, much like Jonah's mission, but persistence can ultimately influence positive change. Opinions supporting this narrative often cite its timelessness and applicability. It's an encouraging reminder that overcoming initial resistance can lead to significant change and fulfillment of a greater purpose. Critics may argue, however, about the story's simplicity, viewing Jonah's initial resistance as a stereotypical portrayal of disobedience that's easily resolved. Others might highlight the ethical dilemmas in forcing one's beliefs onto others. This point is crucial in understanding the broader journey of Jonah, as it leads to his eventual compliance and the miraculous events that follow. Jonah's initial defiance and eventual obedience showcase the intricate dance between human free will and divine destiny, underscoring the narrative's key themes of mercy, forgiveness, and transformation. The journey from resistance to acceptance enriches the overarching theme of reluctance, redemption, and the mysterious ways in which both human and divine plans unfold. The heading, "The Storm and Jonah's Descent into the Sea," from the outline of The Mysterious Journey of Jonah and the Whale, refers to a pivotal moment in the biblical narrative. This story, found in the book of Jonah, illustrates how Jonah, a prophet, attempts to flee from God's command to preach repentance to the city of Nineveh by boarding a ship bound for Tarshish. However, a divine storm is sent to thwart his escape, and realizing that he is the cause of this supernatural tempest, Jonah instructs the sailors to cast him into the sea, where he is swallowed by a great fish, often referred to as a whale. This moment is significant as it highlights themes of obedience, divine intervention, and repentance, key elements that resonate throughout the story. It underscores the idea that one cannot flee from divine will, and often surrendering is what ultimately leads to redemption and transformation. This becomes a metaphor for life's moments when we face storms, both literal and figurative, and how confronting rather than evading them can lead to growth. The story can serve as a powerful allegory, In literature and film, it is often used to depict moments when characters must confront the consequences of their actions, thereby initiating a transformative journey. For instance, Herman Melville's Moby Dick uses biblical analogies to explore the deep-seated conflict between man and fate, akin to Jonah's struggle. In psychology, the narrative is a reflection on the importance of self-awareness and accepting responsibility, which can be essential steps in personal development and therapy. Opinions in support of this idea often come from religious teachings or moral philosophies, appreciating the story's symbolism of resisting and eventually yielding to a greater power, which can lead to personal enlightenment or salvation. However, challenges to this interpretation arise from more secular or skeptical perspectives, questioning whether the narrative implies inevitable predestination and if it limits the human capacity for free will. The storm and Jonah's descent into the sea is intertwined with broader themes in Jonah's story. It not only sets the stage for his physical and spiritual transformation, but also influences readers' understanding of divine mercy and the possibility of new beginnings. Ultimately, this segment of the narrative encapsulates the tension between fear and faith and highlights the potential for renewal through facing one's shortcomings. This concept echoes across the remainder of the story, where Jonah's eventual fulfillment of his mission leads to profound lessons on compassion and forgiveness.